everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be talking about Sun Records, the TV show that is airing on CMT on Thursday nights at 9 p.m., which I am in. And I'm going to be taking them to where I'm going to be talking about 2 episodes per video because there's an 8-episode series. The first 2 episodes have already aired, so I haven't been able, I'm kind of behind on talking about each episode by itself. And because I'm not in that many scenes, I decided to kind of crunch 2 episodes together into one video so you get more content. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about episode 1 and episode 2. So let's get into the video. But I am in one scene with Chad Michael Murray, who plays Sam Phillips. And basically the show is based on the $1 Million Quartet, Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all of them getting noticed by Sam Phillips, who owns Sun Records in Memphis. And it's actually a really, really good show. If you haven't watched it yet, I will have the links to where you can stream the episodes on CMT down below. That way you can catch up so you can watch the new episode when it airs on Thursday. And so starting with the first scene that I was in that was aired was the scene where I am with Chad Michael Murray. In this scene, he is driving up to Sun Records with his wife, and me and my brother, it's like a split second, but you can see us in the corner. We're walking on the sidewalk like we're a couple, which is very awkward. We're walking in together on the sidewalk like we're a couple, and it's very awkward, and we got a lot of funny things. Actually, this is basically what I'm going to be talking about, is what it was like filming those scenes. So this scene, we had to pretend like we were a couple walking on the sidewalk, and the next day when we went back to set, because the guy that chose us to be the people walking, he didn't realize that we were brother and sister, and the next day everybody else on set, all the hair and makeup people and the wardrobe people, knew that we were related. So they actually were making fun of us the day after when we had to go get our next fitting done for the next scene. They were like, "Oh, I need y'all to step back and hold hands while y'all are walking up to us," and we're like, "No." And so that actually happened. That was really funny. The next scene, so basically the whole scene is just them walking up and we're walking beside them, and it's a very, very split second. You can't really see us but for a split second, but we're still in that scene. You can see us. And the next scene that was in episode 1 was the scene of us at the fair. Now, the fair was actually filmed at the Memphis Zoo, and it's back in there's a kiddie area back there where it's fair rides and stuff like that, so that's basically where they shot it at. And actually, a secret about that, there was actually a prom going on the opposite side of the zoo. So we were filming Sun Records, and there was a prom going on the opposite side, and that night was one of the longest nights on set. If you have ever been on a set, you know how long the nights are and the days. They're 12 plus hours of days working, and a typical day on set was going if you had to get fitted. This was a period piece, which means that if you're supposed to be in that time zone of clothing. So we were supposed to be the 1950s, 60s era, and we had to be fitted for that type of outfit that fit that era. So you would go and you would get a fitting done, and then you would go to the scene that next day, and you would go into hair and makeup. But most of the time they wanted you to go, for this set, they wanted you to go and actually do your own makeup. They would kind of touch you up a bit, and then they'd do your hair, which my hair was one of the craziest things, because right now I have short hair, but when I was filming it, I had hair all the way down to my belly button. It was long and blonde, and back then long blonde hair was not a thing at all. It was all short hair that had curls that went up all the way up to your ears. And so they would want us to wear little rollers in your hair overnight and sleep in them, and then the next day you would take them out there and they would fix it up. They would puff out your hair and things like that. I have a bunch of pictures that I posted on Instagram, which I'll have linked down below, of all the pictures from my hair being done and everything like that. But that's a whole nother like side note about how it goes on with going to set. So that next scene that I was in was that fair scene, and in the background you can see me a few times on the tilt-a-whirl, and then you can see me right as the scene starts. He's like talking about these dancing ducks, and it pans over to the background where their like merry-go-round is and the tilt-a-whirl, and as it goes and pans over in the line for the merry-go-round, I'm the second girl in the short little brown wig, because I actually did have to wear wigs a lot because like I said, my hair was not the color that it should have been or whatever. And so they put me in a lot of wigs a lot of the time, and those were like crazy to put on and stuff like that. It took forever to get them on. But yeah, you can see me on the tilt-a-whirl, and you can see me in the line for the merry-go-round. So those are all the scenes that I had in the first episode. The next episode was episode 2. Actually, there was one more scene in the first episode. There was a scene where I was supposed to be in the background of the scene with the Paperboy and the Colonel talking to each other about Eddie Arnold posters. And I was supposed to be in the background, but that day that we were filming, it started pouring down rain when we were in the middle of filming. So they ended up keeping people later in the day and had half of us leave and go home and the other half stay. And they ended up using a scene that they shot with the people from later that day instead of the one that I'm in. So I didn't end up in that scene, but I did kind of film that scene, but they didn't use that shot of the scene. And then the next episode 2, there is a scene where I'm in at a roller skating place, and I didn't really roller skate, so I'm not in the background a lot, but you can see me. I'm kind of blurred out. I was supposed to be, I don't know if they're going to be using more scenes from that, from the roller skating place, but there was a few other scenes that they could have used, but I don't know if they're going to be including those into the show. But I am in the background dancing in the middle of the ring, where it's like there's like a dance floor in the middle of the actual skating rink, and I was back there in like a little orange shirt, and I believe I had a wig on that day. Most of the time I had a wig, so I think I did have a wig. I was actually cast to be a cheerleader for the cheerleading scene and everything like that. That was like the first thing that they called me for, was to be a cheerleader, and then it kind of like graduated through the shooting of the graduated to the whole like few months of me coming back and doing more scenes with them. But this scene was like my biggest scene that I did. I actually had just my hair up in a ponytail. It was curled, and I just cheered, and it was like a cheer practice / basketball practice spot, and you could see me a bunch of times in that scene of me like just cheering and everything. And actually a funny story about that day, we had to wear, in most of the scenes, we had to wear like red lipstick. They always wanted you to wear red lipstick or like a pink lipstick, and I wore a pink like chapstick or lipstick or something that was like similar to the same color as my actual lip color. And they were going and they were like, oh, we don't like this color, like you don't need to be wearing that bright of colors, so let's wash it off. And they're sitting there with a baby wipe washing off this lipstick off me, and they like kept washing it off and washing it off. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that it's off me now. And they're like, no, we almost have it. It's not coming off though. I don't know why it's not coming off. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, that's my actual lip color. Like, that is my lips. I don't know why you're trying to wash my lips off. But yeah, that happened. So that was very awkward. Like, let me just tell you, it was like a crazy set. Like, there was so many behind this. It's just crazy. There was a scene that was shot, and for the second episode, which I think they're going to be using this scene multiple times, but it's basically your normal front of the school scene when they go into the school as the next like scene that you see. Most of the time you'll see them on like little kid shows like Drake and Josh and iCarly and all that stuff, like the old shows. You would see the front of the school, and then you would go inside the school as the next scene. And they did one of those scenes, and I was actually in the front of the school, and you could see me walking up the stairs. And I actually did have my hair up in a ponytail in that one. That day and the cheerleading day were the only 2 days that I had like just a ponytail, but then I did have my hair curled up, and it was like puffed up and like all the way up to like my shoulders and like my ears. It was crazy. on the day that we actually shot the roller skating scene, we were all in like the tent that we had to sit in before we went on to the scene, and that's like where the catering was and all of that stuff. Actually, that day Chad was filming as well, but he wasn't in the scene that we were in, and he was coming into the tent to talk to some of the people that were working on set. And everybody, anytime that he came on set, whenever we were working in the middle of a scene or anything, everybody's eyes turned right to him. It was like crazy because he was like everybody's like first like crush, like celebrity crush. It was Chad Michael Murray. If you grew up watching One Tree Hill or A Cinderella Story or anything like that, you know that he was like a big deal a long time ago, and he still kind of is, but like back then he was a really big deal. So it was really, really cool being able to work with somebody that was such a influence on me, I guess, because he, like, I would give you like a little backstory about A Cinderella Story. Whenever I went and saw A Cinderella Story, that was the only movie that I ever cried at in the theater, was A Cinderella Story. I cried at the end of it. It's such a good movie. If you haven't seen it, which I'm pretty sure everybody has seen that movie, you need to go watch it because it's so good. And then One Tree Hill, if you haven't seen that, it's really good. But that is all I have for you guys today. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave down below any questions you have on Sun Records or any comments and what you'd like to see next on my channel. And also, I'll keep making sure to keep you updated on each scene that I'm in, and we'll talk more about Sun Records. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!